Okay, David Hogg is out, I think, and I think it's safe to assume for all of us who have been following his career, it's once again is evidence that you cannot reform the Democrat Party. That means Rebellion PAC. Well, look, I'm not expecting much from Cenk Uygur and Rebellion PAC. And as for Fight the Oligarchy Tour, perhaps I'm alone in this opinion, or either that everyone else will come to some iteration of this conclusion. When it comes down to Fight the Oligarchy Tour, it's just going to be used to bring in people who are hopium copium for something progressive and then be sheep herded back into the Democrat Party. There is no removing the incumbents. There is no removing the Democratic Party and changing its reckless ways. So the thing is, I want to pull up a video here, or at least that. Let's get started with something here, because this is from Case Study QB. Now this video came out May 11th. Today is the 13th, but I think it's only fair that we just play this up here because it just kind of shows what David Hogg was saying. And let's go ahead and play this up here. Shout out again to Case Study QB. I don't know how you sit through this stuff. You're made out of stronger stuff than me.
There have been a few members that have come out that have said, well, you know, if I retire, my life is effectively over. And what I would say is get over yourself. This isn't about you. This is about our country, and it's about your constituents. Nobody is I don't care if you've been there for decades or just one term. That seat is not yours. It is your constituents. That is who you're there to serve. And if they choose to serve somebody else, so be it. That's all we're trying to do with Leaders We Deserve is give people the option to vote for somebody that isn't necessarily the same person that's been there.
And sounds good. It really does. Truly, it does. But that's not the case here. No, not at all. In fact, I want to pull up this article here. DNC panel votes to void David Hogg's election as Democratic vice chair. So this happened just now. It's only recent. The Democratic National Committee's credentials panel voted Monday to void against David Hogg's election as vice chair of the party. Hogg, a survivor of the 2018 mass shooting at Marjorie and Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, was elected vice chair in February, but is drawing criticism from Democrats over his plans to spend $20 million to take down long-serving Democrat House lawmakers in primaries. That's his first mistake. Probably will be his last mistake. And if he wants to have a career in Washington politics, he's going to have to realize that you don't rock the boat. You don't knock over the apple cart, because the apple cart doesn't like to be knocked down. It's impossible to ignore the broader context of my work to reform the party, which loomed large over this vote, Hogg said in a statement after the vote, according to Politico. The DNC has pledged to remove me, and this vote has provided an avenue to fast-track that effort, he added. The committee, which found procedural violations occurred in February election, also voted to oust Pennsylvania State Representative Malcolm Kenyatta as DNC vice chair. Hogg and Kenyatta, however, will remain at their posts until the full DNC votes on whether to approve their removals later this year. Christine Pelosi, a member of the Christine Pelosi. Who is that? A member of the Credentials Committee and daughter of former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi insisted that the vote to void Hogg's vice chair election win had nothing to do with politics. Removing David Hogg had nothing to do with politics. Was that the case? Type 1 for no, kid. Look, listen, it has nothing to do with politics. It's about procedure. Type 2, no, kid. It has everything to do with politics. Everything about politics. Come on. You're better than this. First, I want to say clearly and explicitly that the decision has nothing to do with the service of any DNC officer, Hogg or Kenyatta. This is about the violation of a preliminary procedure that was raised in a challenge filed back in February by another candidate for vice chair, Pelosi wrote on X. After the panel rejected Pelosi's proposal to uphold the elections and make changes to future procedures, the Credentials Committee voted on a resolution that recommends the DNC complete the vice chair election and administer new ballots for the final 2 vice chair positions. Pelosi noted that Hogg would be eligible to run in the election redo and insisted that she hopes he decides to. I think I speak for all of us on the committee when I say I hope both of these talented individuals put their names on the ballot again, she said. We'll move fast to get this resolved. I have total faith in our DNC members to remove this issue and vote their conscience. I want to give a shout out to No Sound Bites Allowed, Semper Fi, my fellow Marine, and thank you for your support and solidarity to you and Larry Sharp, by the way. Shout out to both of you. fellow Marines. Marines got each other's back. Gotta love that this is happening in the most transparent democratic process, political organization. No rank and file votes in 2024. Elites remove duly elected officers. Reflects policy agenda. Not only does it reflect policy agenda, but it shows that the Democrats refuse to adapt. This is why the Democrat Party is a brand that's dying. And I know I get this a lot from people. Kit, why do you talk about the Democrat Party? Because I have to talk about this because this is a party that is on a self-deletion, self-termination pathway. And we gave this warning so many years ago. But it wasn't just hard lens media. It was anybody that had a functioning brain. Even if you weren't involved in politics, we saw the writing on the wall. The Democrats were refusing to listen to a new voting base. Now, here's something I want to make very clear here. The Democrats have been combative towards Bernie Sanders and AOC, which AOC and Bernie Sanders allowed to happen. Remember, Bernie Sanders gave away that email address. Bernie Sanders sold out his movement. AOC and Bernie are right now doing this Fight the Oligarchy tour, but at the end of the day, the writing on the wall is they're trying to get people suckered in back to voting Democrat. But the thing is, anytime there's a talk about reforming the Democrats, they will not do it. They won't have the follow through. It's about keeping things in line. It's about keeping people obedient and in a nature of fear. This is an abusive relationship. You got to break away from an abusive relationship whenever you can. But hey, maybe I'm overthinking it. Perhaps I am. Perhaps I am. Maybe I am. I don't know. Perhaps I am. Continuing on, Pelosi noted that Hogg would be eligible to run in the election redo and insisted that she hopes he decides to. Hogg, listen. If you want to run again, go ahead, but prepare for disappointment. I think I speak for all of us on the committee when I say I hope both of these talented individuals put their names on the ballot again. We'll move fast to get this resolved. I have total faith in our DNC members to review this issue and vote their conscience. DNC Chairman Ken Martin, who reportedly circulated a pledge calling for DNC officers to stay neutral in primaries, which Hogg refused to sign, said he was disappointed to learn that before I became chair, there was a procedural error in February vice chair elections. Really? Well, you're in charge of it, buddy. This is the same Ken Martin who wanted good billionaires. Good billionaires. Okay? Like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg, who have donated to Democrats. Oh, and Donald Trump, who also used to donate to Democrats. So what I'm getting from this, what I'm seeing from this is that the Democrats have nothing. Just absolute failure. See, the thing is, they have a system of control, and this should be a wake-up call. It's not about making your life better. It's about controlling your life. And look, the Republican Party plays its own games too. I mean, already we're seeing Republican lawmakers kind of get upset towards Trump and his slashing of drug prices, or even at lowering the taxes. And even then, especially with him, with Trump apparently trying to get a peace deal in the Middle East, we'll see what happens. Again, when it comes down to politics, these politicians can say whatever we want to hear, or they could say things and do things, but until it's finally done, the action is done, it's all hot air to me. On Friday, Hogg, 25, age 25, wow, very young, railed against the Democrat Party during an appearance on Real Time with Bill Maher, arguing Democrats have become too hostile towards men. Okay. What I think happened last election is younger men would rather vote for somebody who they don't completely agree with, they don't judge, they don't feel judged by than somebody who they do agree with, that they feel like they have to walk on eggshells around constantly because they're going to be judged or ostracized or excommunicated. Ultimately, what we have to do is figure out how to bring people back in and work towards the bigger goal of advancing the future of this country. Young people should be able to focus on what young people should be focused on, which is how to get laid and how to go and have fun. Well, yes. I mean, come on. Listen, it doesn't matter how old or young you are. We all want to get laid and have fun, okay? Hashtag Hardlens Media approves of everybody getting laid and everybody having fun. But those words did come back to haunt David Hogg a little bit because he was called out on Fox News. Because we're going to continue just a little bit on towards how the Democrats are still trying to screw him over. He's not going to have a fair run.
How nihilistic and also how dismissive of all the concerns that young people are feeling right now. The Democrats the last couple of years, and Hogg is half right about this, they have lost young people, especially young men. When I go to these college campuses, though, they don't.
Mastermind Hour. This is a hard story to sit through. You could say it's a hog slog. Oh, absolutely. Get what? And get what? Laid and have fun, my friend. Laid and have fun. See, we're having a fun show today.
Just want to have more degeneracy or debauchery. They're looking for something greater, something higher. They're in the pursuit of something good and true and beautiful. Remember, if you're on a college campus right now, the very young people that we at Turning Point USA are winning over, large in part thanks to President Trump, you suffered under the lies and the deception of COVID, of wearing a mask while you shower, of the 9th booster shot, of the hyper policing of every pronoun and every syllable that you say. And they want something greater than that, not something darker and something that is rooted in a cynical worldview. And David Hogg is so dismissive of young people that want to have a mission, that want to have meaning, that don't just want to pursue what makes them feel good, but instead young people increasingly want to do good. This is also why we're seeing young people go back to church. According to Axios, a story just a couple of days ago, church attendance is going up large in part thanks to young Gen Z men. David Hogg is selling a very dark worldview, and we are going to embrace one that lifts people up and one that is rooted in eternal principle.
Well, sounds good. All of it sounds good on paper. Really, it does. But Hogg, as somebody who is trying to talk about the Democrats, somebody who is trying to deal with this entire political process, you know, we have to look at this other example here too. A Democrat National Committee subcommittee on Monday recommended that the organization invalidate one of its February vice chair votes over claims that it unfairly disadvantages female candidates. Look, you need to hear from every single point of view and every single perspective, and I understand the significance and importance of identity. It matters. It really, truly, it does. All right. But when you have it blind your agenda, when you have it be your end all be all thing, remember what helped Trump win 2024? The economy. The move, which won't be official unless the entire DNC votes to approve it, could open up new races for positions held by David Hogg, a Florida alchemist, and Malcolm Canada, a Pennsylvania state legislator. So this is a full-on fight towards this position of power. The challenge by Oklahoma Democratic Committee woman Kaylin Free, who unsuccessfully ran against Hogg and Canada in the February race for vice chair, is not related to the ongoing tension between Hogg and the National Party over his push to support primary challenges against incumbent Democrats. Instead, it was based off Free's claim that the handling of the vice chair vote gave the two men an unfair advantage amid the National Party's requirements that the executive committee achieve gender balance. Oh no. Look, here's Harlan's media stance, okay? When it comes down to identity. Everyone is a beautiful butterfly. All of you. We're all beautiful in our own way. But also, at the end of the day, merit matters. And if you don't know what you're doing, or either that, if you lose, well, then figure out why you lost, okay? When it comes down to failure, sometimes it's the biggest lesson. And I, for one, have to state to everyone that's watching this, you have to believe that the Democrats going along with this are just using that as a smokescreen to go after Hogg because he wants to go after incumbents. Anytime the Democrats get challenged, especially the incumbents, they scream and come a squawking, and then Mama Duck comes a flying to make sure that everything's fine. David Hogg, if he's truly going to run again, as well as the other person, if they're both going to be running again, you better believe that there's going to be a thumb that's going to be put on them. This is not a correct process. This is not even a good process to do or even have any kind of real follow through. This is how people get stepped on and abused by a political process. Now, I just want to pull up another thing here too. All right. This is just a video from May 10th. All right. Just want to pull it up here. Shot again the case study QB, because you can't reform this party. You can't reform it. You can't reform it. You can't reform it.
God, these people are just helpless. They cannot be helped. There's nothing you can do to help them. They don't want to be helped. And if they had any guts, they'd start their own god political party and get out of ours. I'm sorry.
So he's specifically referring to people like Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who's been campaigning with Bernie Sanders, may run for president. So they've got some big issues to work out.
They're still digesting the election. They still can't believe that the American public went in there at a time when their eggs were too high, their gas was too high, and they were watching their neighborhoods change with the influx of migrants. And so they don't know how to react to that. But the Bidens now, they're just trying to save their legacy. They're trying to get out in front of all these books that are going to.
Yes, of course. And the reason why I'm playing this video is because, you got to address the big elephant, the senile blind elephant in the room, and that is Biden. Remember, a lot of people in 2024 who were part of the Vote Blue, no matter who infrastructure, including David Hogg himself, were telling everybody, hey, we got to vote Democrat, got to support Biden, then later on Kamala, because Trump. I'm going to give the final note to good friend of the show, somebody who I call an ally and somebody who doesn't back down. Much love to her. Sabas. What did I tell you? There's no reforming this party. DNC takes step towards ousting David Hogg as vice chair. How can you reform a party that is purposely doing everything it can to dismiss its next generation? When I had activist, organizer, and former mayoral candidate Jamal Green on the show, he told us about a Democrat meeting in Chicago for local elections. The Democrats only had nothing but old people in that room. No young people. No young people. They are out of ideas. Why do you think Trump won? Seriously, Democrats. Why do you think Trump won? Because you could say whatever you want about him, but he understood the mob. And I know I'm not talking about the criminal mob. I'm talking about the mob, the people. He heard what they were saying. And however your feelings about it, 2024 on November 5th, it was a signed conclusion.